Organic foods are more expensive than chemically processed. It's true if you're looking at price-to-price comparison. But what most people fail to look at are the doctor bills over your lifetime, prescription medicines, and the time spent dealing with poor health outcomes and time off work for recovery from surgeries. When you take care of yourself with daily healthy choices, you reap the benefits of a higher quality of life with your family. Less time at the doctor, less money on surgeries, and more time and energy to pursue what you love. Isn't that what we all want? In last week's podcast, episode 3, we discussed the biggest insecurities that prevent people from changing to a healthy lifestyle. We talked about ways to overcome your self-doubt and establish healthy routines. On today's show, episode 4, we're discussing the biggest false belief about time and money spent on a healthy lifestyle, why most people have these thoughts, what the truth is about it, and how we can minimize the amount of time and money spent. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. In last week's podcast, number 3, we discussed the biggest insecurities that prevent people from changing to this lifestyle. You hit some resistance a lot of times. You hit a wall. It's hard to change. You have self-doubt. There's always going to be something that's making you feel like you can't do it. So a lot of times you need someone there encouraging you. You need information, education. You need help. And we had fun talking about that. On today's show, episode 4, we're discussing the biggest false beliefs about time and money spent on a healthy lifestyle and why most people have these thoughts, what the truth is actually about it, and how we can minimize the amount of time and money spent or maximize our return on it. So I'm excited to have Dr. Kell with us here today again.
Hey, Nikki.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. So organic foods, if you're going to the grocery store, are most of the time more expensive than the chemically processed foods. It's true if you're looking at them price-to-price comparison, but what most people fail to look at are the doctor bills over your lifetime or prescription medicines or time spent dealing with your poor health outcomes and time off work from recovery for surgeries. When you take that into account, it's a different story. It's a different picture. When you take care of yourself with daily healthy choices, you actually reap the benefits of a higher quality of life with your family. Like when I didn't feel well 6 years ago, I was going through like breast implant illness and we had mold toxicity in our house. And my marriage was like on the rocks. It was tough. I didn't have the energy to give to my husband. My kids suffered. It's a different story today. When I feel good, I have time and love to invest in other people. I don't have to just worry about myself. So I think health, there's a bigger picture there. You have to look at your quality of life and what you can give to others, not just, the money or the time spent on it, because that doesn't even enter into the picture now. I don't even think about it. But I want to talk to Dr. Kell about that. So can you tell us, why do most people have these thoughts about time and money, and why are they scared to make this change?
Well, maybe before I answer that question, can I ask you a question, Nikki?
Sure.
You just mentioned your life and the things that you experienced with your breast implants and other issues with the mold. What helped you make the change?
Basically, I felt like I was dying. So I kind of got to the point where it was like, you can't wait any longer. And I think a lot of people do that too. It's easier to put it off to make the change. I think it's easy to just keep doing things the way we've always done them, because you don't have to learn new ways or read ingredient labels or get educated on what actually will help you feel better.
Also, you came to mind while you were talking about your story a little bit there, that people do a lot of things in life that they think are going to help them and they think are going to benefit them. Many of them are based on vanity, not on good health.
True.
Yeah. And, not sure what your reasons were for going down that path. But a lot of women out there do things like breast implants, and ultimately many of them fail and have problems. They leak. They give people health problems. They have to have them removed. The difficulties related to that are a problem. So we spend a lot of money trying to make ourselves look good and attractive. And many of those things that we use, you talked a little bit about foods and organic foods and going to the store, but let's talk for a minute too about all the cosmetics and shampoos and creams and everything that people use on their bodies, deodorants. You want to smell good, you want to look good because you're trying to attract the opposite sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or today may not just be the opposite sex. Who knows? But you're trying to attract somebody and trying to have a relationship.
Yep.
Because we don't want to be alone. We like to interact with others, and we, it's funny. We're going to talk about products that we've created and things like that from a healthy perspective, but it always goes back to the money, doesn't it? Always goes back to the money. So many companies out there make so many products, not just all the junk food and all the unhealthy things that you go to the store to eat, but all the other stuff that you're putting on your body to make yourself beautiful and attractive. That stuff, many of that stuff is poisonous. And it's extremely expensive, actually. However, they make it cheaper than the natural stuff. Why? It's cheaper to make a synthetic substance in mass quantities than it is to develop from natural substances, things that are actually good for and healthy for the skin and the body. So those items often are a little more expensive than the other stuff. The problem is, if in the end it gives you health problems,
Yeah. And talking about makeup, I mean, I used to have, I'm an actor, and so I had to put my face on to go on set. And a lot of those makeups are expensive, and, they just don't look as good. I wear a whole lot less makeup now. And in fact, in my acting class, my teacher is like, throw that stuff away. You look crazy. You look like a clown with all that makeup on. Just have your natural skin glow through. And the products I use now are organic, and my skin does glow more, I would say. It just looks more natural, and I'm thankful for that.
I would agree.
I'm not saying I'm perfect or I look like, a model or anything. I'm just saying health shines through. When you're taking care of yourself, you don't have to do as much on the outside because it just naturally comes through.
A lot of people don't understand too that their countenance has nothing to do with makeup. If you feel good about yourself inside and you're healthy too, you're eating the right foods and everything, your color is going to be better no matter what your color is. People talk about the aura. Well, I've never seen an actual aura on anybody as far as the glowing lights surrounding a person's body. Is it there? We do emit energy. So maybe someday we'll be able to see the aura. But the point is, people say, when they see a pregnant woman, there's just something about her. Mm-hmm. And it's the same way with people in general. If you're a happier person, you're going to have a glow. Yeah.
I think when you feel good, you're able to give love to other people, and that just makes you more beautiful.
Absolutely.
Even than, if your hair is perfect or your makeup's perfect.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't matter. I mean, I've met some people too that at first glance I was like, whoa. But you get to know them and they become beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true.
It doesn't matter whether they're big or small or whatever. It's their personality that just all of a sudden makes them beautiful.
Yeah. So why do you think people are scared of investing time in this healthy lifestyle?
Well, our society drills people with ads and information from the news that creates these false beliefs that it costs more money. It's more expensive to go natural, to eat healthy, I don't want to just run down the medical community because they do many great things and wonderful things, but they wouldn't exist if you didn't have health problems, right? Like today with COVID, we wouldn't need the vaccine if the virus didn't exist. And there's big money in that, billions of dollars being made today off the COVID vaccines, and will be in the future. Big money being made off people having to go to the hospital with that disease and many others. So if they didn't exist, it's kind of an ironic thing. If we were all healthy and living healthy, there would probably be little need for hospitals and fewer need for visits to the medical doctor. The insurance industry and the drug industry and the medical industry, and they are industries, no doubt about it.
Businesses.
People, this is how people make a living. And if there were no need for those economically, people would be taking different paths. Who knows what the world would be like if everyone was living a healthy lifestyle and wasn't so concerned with vanity. we might be able to actually progress to a point in life where people really did love each other and care about each other and want to be with each other and help each other instead of what we have today.
So you're saying, yeah, like a lot of people don't know that they have the power to heal themselves.
No,
it's not promoted on TV to do this, so people don't think about it. They think about the opposite.
When we've got to stop.
Because we see pharmaceutical commercials all the time on the commercial. Like, if you have this, they're giving them a different solution versus a lifestyle change.
Well, and I don't want to go too much into it, but I always found it ironic when the companies first started being able to promote their medications on TV, and the commercials would often tell you about all the wonderful things about it, and then you'd hear the guy at the end talking 50 miles an hour telling you all the side effects. Yeah. And I first thought was, oh my goodness, if I hadn't heard those side effects, I would never take that thing. Research shows that the reason they started doing it and they found it very successful is people, when they list the side effects, people all of a sudden gain trust in the company that's selling that drug.
Oh, really?
It builds a sort of trust, and it's a false trust, but it does work. It is a advertising ploy. Actually, I mean, it's nice that they tell you what the side effects are, because I think everybody should go read online if they're going to take some kind of medication. Read about the side effects before they start taking it. Oftentimes, the doctors don't even know what they all are when they pass that medication to you. They know what the benefits are, but they may not know all the side effects themselves. So you should educate yourself and think about the added need to go back to the doctor when you start having the side effects from the medications.
Yeah,
it's a perpetual cycle.
I'm somebody who actually has all those side effects. Like, I've taken prescription medicine in like college and afterward, and I was the person who had all of the side effects. So that's kind of why I went away from it as well, is because I'm sensitive to all those things. And I would have to go back for more medicine to take care of those side effects. So it didn't make sense. And it shut my body down in a way to where it just wasn't functioning well. So, but yeah, they don't really often tell you about the side effects at the doctor's office. And you're not necessarily concerned about that. You go in and you have a problem and you want it fixed right then. We're impatient people. We want it fixed now. So that's another thing with time. It's like, I don't have time to waste. I want it fixed now. I have to work. I have to take care of my kids. I don't want to focus on myself. I have other things that I want to focus on. But we have to be more patient with ourselves and know that we can fix it. And, we're so impatient sometimes.
Well, and part of this podcast today is talking about time. And you hit the nail on the head, really. We get so caught up in our lives that the ironic thing from my perspective is that we rush through life. Our life, someone in their 80s or 90s is going to tell you, well, my life went so fast. I look at my mother, will be 88 in April, and she looks back on her life, and of course it was like a flash, and she rushed through everything, and now she's beginning to realize, hey, I'm coming to the end. It's almost over. And all those things that were actually really important to me passed me by. Yeah. Because I let advertising, the news manipulate me into believing what was important, when many of those things were not important at all. And the thing that people don't realize or understand is all that exists to perpetuate the movement of money and keep the economics going and for wealth. Whenever there's a problem or it seems like somebody's trying to take advantage of another one, think about the money. You're pressured into buying things constantly to number one selling emotion is fear. Make people afraid, and they'll spend money just on about anything. Put them in pain, they'll spend almost any amount of money that they have to get out of pain. We don't like having pain.
No, we don't.
Or hurting.
No, and the busyness of our life, we just want to go. Like you said, we don't want to stop and think about things. And the more we stop and settle down, though, the more we realize we don't need all of that, and what we have is enough, and we're more content and happy with what we have. Versus if we're constantly watching the TV and seeing all the commercials for all the new stuff and everything, we feel like we need more. We need more, and we need to do more, and we need to keep up with everybody else. And that's
Right.
where we lose our time and we lose our money, is just in that.
Well, the world teaches us to be competitive. It puts us all at odds with each other. The way the media and advertising goes, it's constantly trying to motivate us to be competitive. Why? My perspective is that it gets us to buy more and go after things more, so we spend more money. And competing with each other, competing with it should really just be yourself. Self-improvement, trying to make yourself better, comparing where you were today, where you are today with where you might be tomorrow, or where you were weeks or months or years ago. Self-reflection and self-improvement should really where we're at, not about competing with you to see who's better at something.
Yeah.
That doesn't really solve anything in this world.
No, we're different.
But if we had self-fulfillment and hey, Nikki, what are you trying to accomplish? Oh, you know what? Maybe I can help you with that. I've been there, done that, and maybe I can give you some helpful hints on how to achieve that. Not, oh, really, you do that too? Well, guess what? Let's go run around the track. I bet I can get around faster than you can.
Let's one up. Yeah. I think it kind of ties back into a simple life. Like if we just think of simplifying everything and not doing more, being more.
What matters?
Yeah. I mean, the simpler, the better. And a healthy lifestyle is kind of that. It's just simple foods and,
Look at our world. Everything in this world that's created eventually falls apart. Even us, we go back to the dust. So it's funny how we are constantly thinking that we're going to be here forever and everything's going to last forever. It doesn't. Whatever we create eventually falls apart. So if we live life with that perspective and understanding, we will live our lives differently and more focus on what matters. For instance, we're constantly trying to accumulate things. One of the things I've discovered in life, the more things I accumulate, the more stress I have, because
That's
I'm
true.
trying to maintain all these things I've accumulated because they're decaying and falling apart, including myself. But as that grows, as I become more financially capable of getting more, it actually just builds that monster bigger.
Yeah.
But I spent a couple of years in South America back in the early 80s. And while I was there, I met a lot of people who were very poor. But out of all my experiences through my life, some of the happiest people I ever came across were the ones that had nothing. They seemed to have an attitude and understanding that they could be happy with the simplest things in life. And you can. The unhappiness comes when you try to obtain all these things. And when you obtain them, we're like the kid, little children who, the parent who throws a bunch of toys at a kid, he plays with them for 5-10 minutes. I mean, think about how many Christmases you've had. I can remember them for myself, where you get a toy within 10-15 minutes, onto another one. You lose interest very quickly. Or if the toy breaks right away, then you become very frustrated and angry and oh, wow. Or if you make a lot of effort to obtain some material thing.
Yeah.
You get where I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah. So how can we maximize our return on time and money with this lifestyle? How can we make the most of it?
Change your perception of what matters.
Right. Keep it simple.
Yes. Really change. Decide, okay, these things don't matter, but my health matters because of it. Because if I have my health, and I've heard the term, if you have your health, you have everything. It's true.
Yeah.
It really is. And we oftentimes don't recognize that until we don't have it anymore. But maintaining your good health will generally help you focus on what other things matter in your life. Your family, your friends, your job should be something you look forward to, not something you dread going to do. And all that stuff interacts and combines. One should sit down and really decide what are the things I really want out of life? What is that? Is it I got to have a house in La Jolla, California, or is it I just want to have good friends, family, have nice experiences, enjoy the world, and what it has to offer on a simple level, rather than I want to stand out in the crowd and be the king of.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, thanks for talking about all this today. I guess in summary, keeping life simple and knowing what's really important. And then we don't really think much about the time and money spent because it's less. I mean, the less focus we have on keeping up with everybody else and what they're doing. Like I stopped watching certain shows like The Housewives, which I loved before, but I just was focusing on things that didn't matter. And like I would get upset about the way people acted on there and how they focused on themselves. And I'm like, why am I even giving energy to this? This is taking away from what really matters. I don't want to compare myself to them any longer. I don't want to be involved in that world anymore. I don't want to live that life. I want to slow down and focus on my family and myself and my health and just give to what gives back to me, because that doesn't do anything for me or my family.
Where did it draw you?
Exactly.
Briefly mentioned where
I would be frustrated after I got done watching it, and I'm like, well, why am I watching this? This is just frustrating me. It's adding nothing to my life.
Why did it frustrate you?
And that was my time I was giving away.
Can you think of one thing that caused that frustration?
Just watching people care so much and like lying about this or that or covering up, just not being truthful about things. I couldn't stand it anymore. I was like, and then I got mad at myself. Like, why are you giving your time away to these people who don't matter to you and you don't believe in what they're doing, like all of the plastic surgery and all of the, looking a certain way, driving certain cars and all of this. It's not where my heart is anymore. My heart is helping people live this type of lifestyle and just be kind to others and loving my family. That's where my heart is. And so I had to stop. And it's hard. Sometimes I see things and I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're up to. But then I'm like, no, that's not where I want to be. I want to be here in a healthy life.
It makes me think so much about how we get focused back on this materialism and vanity, which we think makes us happy, but it doesn't. It gives us a moment of maybe excitement.
Yeah.
Cause some adrenaline to rush into our body, but it's a temporary thing. And usually afterwards there's a letdown. And like you say, you felt frustrated afterwards. And none of that takes you into a state of happiness.
Yeah. No, just keeping up, staying busy, keeping our mind busy so we don't relax and, become centered and enjoy life. Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm looking forward to next week where we're going to hear from Dr. Kell on some takeaways that you can actually incorporate into your own life on starting this lifestyle. So I'm looking forward to that, Dr. Kell.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thanks.
While we make every effort to broadcast correct information, we are still learning. We will double check all facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art. One doctor may have a different way of doing things from another. We are simply presenting our views on how to live a healthy lifestyle that will be as evidence-based as possible. We welcome any comments, suggestions, or corrections of errors. We take no money from drug or device companies. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others, including but not limited to patients that you are treating. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast. Under no circumstances shall Dr. Kell Fullerton or any guests or any contributors to the podcast or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Dr. Kell Fullerton be responsible for damages arising from use of this podcast. This blog should not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to establishing standard of care in a legal sense or as a basis of expert witness testimony. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on this podcast. Our website, blog, and podcasts are all HIPAA compliant. While you may give your email address to subscribe to the website posts or to post information on the website blog, we will never share your email address or contact information with any third parties without your explicit permission. The contents of Health Talk with Dr. Kell podcast and the show notes are all copyrighted. All blog posts, podcasts, and show notes that are distributed to the public for free can be redistributed via hard copy or electronic copy for free only if Health Talk with Dr. Kell is included as the acknowledged author within the actual media that is being redistributed. The Health Talk with Dr. Kell podcast is a production of the Orange Stack with executive producers Dr. Kell Fullerton and Eric Hammond and host Nikki Sterling.